Welcome back. Daya Akintobi is here with us in our Lagos studio. Mr. Akintobi, thank you so much for coming on the program.
My pleasure indeed. Happy Del Maulud to all Nigerians.
Yes, happy holiday. Do you know I forgot it was a holiday already? Because we don't have holidays, the kind of work we do, we don't. Holidays are like, okay, just like another day.
Right,
so
media doesn't take a break.
Yeah, we don't take a break.
No.
So happy holidays to all our Muslim brothers and sisters and everyone else and your celebrations as well.
Yes.
You're looking like Coyote in his, I don't know, maybe I need to go and sew this thing.
You guys gave license that on Fridays we can leave the tie behind. So I took sartorial license today.
Fantastic. Let's get to the papers. Vanguard is where we'll start off from, Mr. Akintobi.
Yes.
Vanguard, opposition mounts against FG's 5% tax on petrol, diesel. Stakeholders push against Tinubu's 5% tax, fuel tax. Will mobilize Nigerians against it, a group has said. Why Tinubu's 5% fuel tax should wait, Peter Obi. 5% petrol tax, a cruel burden on struggling Nigerians, the ADC. These are the reasons why we're bringing
Taiwo Oyedele.
But what do you make of this?
Yes, it's interesting that you would have mentioned Taiwo Oyedele earlier, because this 5% fuel tax is part of the larger tax reform that is going into effect January 1. And essentially what that part of the bill says is that 5% tax should be implemented on refined fuel products, particularly petrol and diesel. So what that means in effect is that you buy 10,000 naira worth of petrol at the pump. From January 1, you'll be paying 10,500 for it. Now there's always a knock-on effect, because you're buying more petrol. Of course, it has an impact on the cost of transportation. It have an impact on the cost of food. And the general perception from the man in the street is that we're still undergoing enough hardship in this country economically at this time. This is not when we need to pay more for anything. Matter of fact, we're looking for relief and how things will become less expensive, not more. And so it seems on the one hand, the government is giving with the left hand and taking away with the right hand, because part of that tax reform is that if you earn under 800,000 naira a year, you are exempt from tax completely. So they've given us relief with the left hand. They're taking it back with the right hand by this implementation of this tax, which there's no way you look at it, it'll have an impact on prices. It'll have an impact on prices of food, prices of transportation. It'll have an impact one way or the other. And inflation, as you mentioned earlier, while it's holding steady, it's not increasing month by month. It's holding steady, but things are still expensive. Remember, inflation holding steady doesn't mean the prices are reducing. It just means prices are not increasing as quickly as they were before, but things are still expensive. So you add 500 naira to 10,000 naira worth of fuel, it'll have a knock-on effect any which way you look at it.
All right. Kari, we'll come to you. But let's assure you that this particular question will be one of our first questions.
Yes.
Is this tax for the consumer at the pump or for the wholesale people who buy it from the depot? That's another kettle of fish. We're not going to be talking, we're not going to be guessing. That day, we're going to break it down for you sometime Tuesday. Kari?
Oh, indeed, Jeffrey. It's going to be an interesting one. So please send in all your questions, areas that you're not clear on regarding those issues. But take a look at New Telegraph. That's where we're headed next. It's lead with something the government has spoken about time and again. Almost like when you say, government, you're not doing well, they just show you that. And it's this. States' revenues have more than doubled since subsidy removal. That's coming from the federal government. On the front page of a New Telegraph, you see even PDP governors are happy with Tinubu. APC North Central chairman say, as ADC accuses government of monetizing hardship, false revenue claims, 5% fuel tax, leadership not about imposing burdens, or B. So it's a very well-packed front page, Mr. Akintobi. But you also see the picture of the president being, how would I say this now, being greeted away. I don't know how to frame this, but you have the, his members of his cabinet, governors, saying farewell to him as he embarks on a 10-day working vacation. I mean, a lot of people have raised issues with that. Well, governors go, say, well, he's the head of the Nigeria Governors, Progressive Governors Forum, and the other is the governor of Lagos State. So, hey, let them be. But Mr. Akintobi, the big story and the big picture, your choice.
Well, I'll touch on both quickly. I think Jeff already hit the nail on the head in terms of the president's serenading team that, and it was theater of the absurd, just looking at that video of grown men waving at a departing plane, and I couldn't stop. Look at how ridiculous is this, you know, but it's not only President Tinubu that does this. This seems to have become a tradition and a way of doing this. I don't know if they are currying favor with the president or kissing up to him or whatever the case may be, or perhaps that is his own thing for his ego as well. I don't think they would invite themselves. Obviously, that the chief of staff or somebody must have made these arrangements for these important personalities to come and see off the president. I don't really know what it does beyond detracting from governance and wasting resources. So let's not focus on that, because I think it's just really totally an absurdity and a waste of time. Let's talk about the state's revenues that have more than doubled since subsidy removal. Well, yes, the funds that accrue to government from the removal of subsidy are being shared among the states. But the question is, what is being done with that money? Do we see the effect of it? Some on one side have argued that sure, there's more money, but does that money buy as much as it used to be able to buy before the subsidy was removed? So some governors are arguing that they are really not better off in spite of the more money that's accruing to them, because what it used to cost to build a road before subsidy was removed is costing more now. Because of the devaluation of the naira, cement costs more, concrete costs more, iron rods cost more. All the things you use to build a road cost more now. So even though there's a net gain in the money that accrues to the state governments, they're not able to do as much with it as the less that they had before subsidy removal. But for the common man in the streets, or for the individuals in the states, I think only a few states are showing the fact that they have more money in hand. Most of the other states are still struggling. Some are barely able to meet the minimum wage. Some have zero to less than zero infrastructural development. Primary health care, which is the responsibility of the states and the local governments, is practically comatose. So you ask yourself, is this due to misgovernance? Is it leakages? Is it ghost workers? Or truthfully, is it that the devaluation of the naira has not made us feel the impact of more money going to the states? The one thing we do know is that we are not seeing accelerated development beyond what it used to be before they got more money. So I think we need to interrogate why. Rather than speculating and wondering what the cause of it is, we need to ask harder questions about why are we not seeing a lot more development if you do have more money? Is it the case that the naira devaluation has affected the much you can do? Or is it that there are other issues relating to corruption and mismanagement?
Quite important questions, Mr. Akintobi. A lot. In fact, I was seeing a comparison somewhere. Someone said, "Oh, it's not all bad. Nigeria's PMS price." They were doing comparison of, in dollar terms, how much PMS is being sold across the region, converting it to naira. But that argument is a bit incomplete, because the way you compare is not just in dollar. So if you say in dollar terms, so for instance, now in dollar terms, Nigeria is less because some people are paying as much as $2.
Yes.
Ours at 900 is less than even $1.
It is.
It's about some cents.
Yes.
Maybe 60 or 70 cents. So
yes,
in dollar terms, it's way less. But it's now a question of how many units of your currency are you using to buy that particular amount of PMS. Because
yes,
that's the way I look at it from numbers point of view.
Absolutely.
To challenge us to do better because some of us believe that naira is grossly devalued.
Yes.
I don't think the naira should be at 1.5.
No.
But even the CBN governor has raised that this naira is totally devalued. It's undervalued. I think that's the right word.
Right.
Undervalued.
Yes.
It can be better than that.
Absolutely.
But it's good for FPIs, because when it's stable and it has that kind of amount and our interest rate is high, it's good for people who do business and investors. But let's go to, I think I saw one paper here. Yes. Nigerian News Direct says, I was betrayed during 2015 election. I was betrayed during 2015 election. Okay, that's according to Jonathan. You say, so I don't know what brought this, what fora he was talking about, but there's been this, nuance and touting of wooing or trying to woo the president, former president, I should say, to
run.
To run. I don't think he will accept, in my view. But maybe this is a subtle reply to some of the persons, in 2015, what we saw was there were frontline opposition. Like that time, it was not the amorphous one we have now with what is going on with the PDP. That time, Rotimi Amechi was very clear, mobilized his people, governors left and joined the APC. So it was very clear that there were enemies within that left him to join the opposition, and they got the result. But there are also enemies within that got that result. Now, I don't even understand the amorphous politics. What do you think is making him say this?
Well, yesterday he was at the birthday party of his former chief of staff, Michael Giadome, and he basically was laying accolades on the man and said he is one of the few people in politics that are totally trustworthy and loyal, and that man would take a bullet for him. Whatever the man told you in the morning is the same thing he would tell you at night, unlike most Nigerian Nigerian politicians who generally are disingenuous. They're two-faced, and you can't rely on anybody's word. And he now extended that to say that part of why he lost in 2015 was due to betrayals. Yes, there was a lot of insider opposition to his candidacy. Remember, there were some people who initially felt that when he completed President Yar'Adua's first term, that by him running again in 2011, he should have allowed the North to complete their 8 years.
Yeah,
so
that was a big problem.
He already had a problem that some people were antagonistic towards him because they felt he robbed the North of completing their 8-year term. So by the time he was ready to run for his own second term, there was already opposition arrayed against him, even in his own party, as well as this opposition that coalesced. Remember, the APC came into being as a formidable entity, primarily to unseat him and to get the PDP out of power. And they did it. The opposition to him was so unified, and so it fermented into such strong virility that they actually were able to launch an offensive against him and succeeded. So I would say part of the betrayal he's talking about relates to the fact that he himself couldn't take the moral high ground per se because he was seen as an illegitimate contender at the time he was trying to run. So the question is, his statements yesterday, can we read between the tea leaves to use them to forecast what he's saying about 2027? You have the opinion that he won't run in 2027. Some people say the Nigerian politician will always tell you that due to the yearnings of my people, my people have been coming in droves, and all they've been doing is telling me so I have to aspire to the will of what the people want. They're clamoring for my candidacy. So some people think that if the elements align properly, there's quite a bit of opposition to the government in power now. There are some people who, a wide swath of the country, believe that they were better off under the last Goodluck Jonathan administration than they've been in the last 10 years under the APC. So there's some people who yearn back for that time. What was the dollar rate in 2015? What was the cost of fuel in 2015?
Those were pegged.
Yes, of course. Well, I think it's also a function of timing, that whoever, even if Jonathan was there today, some of the numbers we are seeing today are what we'd be seeing. I think there are global issues, there are COVID issues. So a lot
times have changed.
Yes, times have changed. So it's not automatically guaranteed that because we were in halcyon days during Goodluck Jonathan's time means that if he were to come back, it would be the same thing again.
Fantastic points you've raised. That interview, always interesting to hear you give your perspective on what the Daily is saying. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
My pleasure always. Thank you.
And have a great weekend. Enjoy it for yourself.
Wish you the same, and wish all Nigeria the same.